What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the whole Arc Raiders community was panicking that we weren't going to see any information and that they're basically going to eventually postpone the game and push it back because we haven't seen any trailers, any info about any pre-orders, just nothing. Open betas, any other closed betas, no information whatsoever, just radio silence. And then out of the blue, typical Embark fashion, they dropped their first trailer for the pre-order sales. And let me tell you guys something. The whole community is exploding, and also the charts are exploding as well. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, before we go ahead and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post twice here. Once at 8 a.m. and also a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And we post all different types of variety, FPS, or even third-person shooter content. So subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys are interested, I got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, as I stated, Embark just came out of the blue and just decided, hey, you know what? We're just going to drop this right here, right now. They dropped their official pre-order trailer, and it is filled with so many freaking juicy details. I can't even tell you guys how excited I am for this game. First and foremost, I just wanted to show you guys the Steam charts for top sellers right now. After the first day of this game just being announced by a trailer on YouTube, no open betas yet, nothing else going on, no massive advertisements. Just one singular trailer on YouTube. And, in a niche genre, extraction shooters, it is already in the top 10 on the top sellers for Steam. Okay? It's at number 9 right now. That is so freaking mental. And ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't end there. I know a lot of people say, well, Steam isn't the overall marketplace. And I agree. I think console is probably the biggest portion of the marketplace. But look at PlayStation charts right here, ladies and gentlemen. These are the top pre-orders. And Arc Raiders, the deluxe edition, is in the top 6, outbeating Battlefield 6 now, which is kind of obvious because Battlefield 6 has had a lot of time to kind of simmer down before the official launch. Not many people are going to be pre-ordering so close to the final date, and it's even surpassing Black Ops 7. I mean, Black Ops 7 has not been able to catch a break at all. Battlefield 6, even so close to its launch date, is still out pre-ordering Black Ops 7, even after Black Ops 7 had its official multiplayer reveal and stuff like that. We'll see what it's like after the beta, but I don't think it's going to change that much. But regardless, Battlefield 6 has been dominating Black Ops 7 in pre-orders. And then out of nowhere, an extraction shooter. For the first time ever on console players barely even know, any extraction shooters besides, a handful, a couple to a few. And here we are, and Arc Raiders is already beating out Black Ops 7 with, let me say this very carefully, with no marketing. Activision has such big pockets now because of Microsoft to market the crap out of their game. Arc Raiders had one play session that was live with a bunch of streamers, and that's it. Radio silence. They come out with a trailer on YouTube, and it's top 6 on PlayStation. I want people to understand how huge that actually is, and hopefully that puts a lot of people's nerves to rest. Because I think a lot of people are worried. It's like, okay, Arc Raiders is literally launching between two behemoths. It launches after Battlefield 6 within the same month, and then basically directly after Arc Raiders launches, Black Ops 7 is going to be coming out here. And people were stressed that it wasn't going to be able to stand on its own, but I think it will. It will indeed. And you got to think, a lot of people who play Battlefield 6 or Black Ops 7 still want variety. I try to tell people this all the time. I don't see why people always think they can only play one game and one game only. Variety is the spice of life, okay? That is just the simple truth. And, having an extraction shooter in the rotation will be fun. It'll add a different vibe, a unique atmosphere to shake up your gameplay on your day-to-day routine. And I think a lot of people are interested in that. So I decided to throw this out here. I'm so ridiculously excited to see everything, kind of come together. And they also went ahead and showcase to us the deluxe edition, showing off all the skins that we'll be able to go ahead and get, as you can see right here. And also, oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, the second page made me want to get the deluxe. Not made me. I am getting the deluxe edition after seeing this. Scrappy is a cowboy, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you can't see, bro. You cannot tell me there's anything cooler than having a cowboy Scrappy. That is the dopest thing I've seen. But this is awesome because I can't wait to see what other skins they might have coming out in the future. Or maybe if you can even go ahead and change the animal that is going to be Scrappy. Because some people saw it in one of their art designs. There was like a raccoon creeping over one of the cars. And we're thinking to ourselves, how awesome would it be to have a raccoon like Scrappy? I don't know. The future is going to be so awesome to see what, comes together with Arc Raiders. But this stuff is looking really cool. And ladies and gentlemen, the craziest of all this information is the fact that we're getting another open beta. And I love what they're calling it. They're not just calling it an open beta. They're calling it the Arc Raiders Server Slam. And you can go ahead and play it from October 17th to October 19th, and it's open to everybody, whether you have a PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X or S, if you play it on the Epic Game Store, or even on Steam. It does not matter. You'll be able to download it for free and give it a shot, which is absolutely huge, because the only, people who got to play were the ones who got into the closed access. And, I mean, at the end of the day, you want people to have, some hands-on to see what it's all about, especially before launch to up those pre-order sales. And trust me, oh my goodness, if it's already in the top 10, basically, on Steam, and it's in the top 6 on PlayStation, I can only imagine where Arc Raiders is going to be sitting at when people can actually get hands-on. The mass population out there can try out the game and see for themselves. Oh, brothers. Whew, I'm telling you, the numbers are going to skyrocket. This is going to be phenomenal, and I'm glad they are testing out the servers, because if you guys watched any of the gameplay, it looks phenomenal, very smooth. I mean, Embark is stupidly talented when it comes to optimizing a game. It would be very tragic if the one thing that, killed it was servers. You know what I'm saying? So it's good that they're going to be testing these servers out. We can see if, how optimized the game is with all the new, stuff they're introducing, and we can get ourselves prepped for the full launch of the game, ladies and gentlemen. As I stated before, I'm going to state it 1,000 more times. I am so freaking excited. But there were a few things that I noticed in this trailer that I wanted to point out to you guys that I thought were, pretty cool. First and foremost being the flamethrower. We actually saw this. They sent it out, I think, on Twitter, their own Twitter account, showcasing the flamethrower. And I'm pretty positive you put it together by, the scraps that you pick up in the actual game itself. And I love this. As I stated in many videos before, me personally, I know it's very unpopular, but when people talk about The Last of Us, I enjoyed The Last of Us multiplayer, okay? The campaign, yeah, it was great and all. But I was just obsessed with the multiplayer. And I love the concept of being able to, kind of scrap things together and put together your equipment, whether it's mines or, all of the above. I just thought it was so cool and unique. And that's what this reminds me of. It's really, throwing me back and giving me nostalgia to The Last of Us multiplayer days. Because that's exactly what this is. You're going to be going around the map. Not only are you going to be finding a loot for yourself to be able to bring back to your base, but you're going to be able to find stuff that you can kind of scrap together to give you these types of, equipment to help you fend off from Ark, which are the robots, or even, from other raiders that are going into the actual field. This is going to be awesome. The second thing I saw was the rubber duck, and I wanted to point this out because it really showcases to you how many options you have when you hop into a raid within Arc Raiders. And it's not just strictly PvP going, guns blazing, to shoot up everything that you possibly see. There's so many ways to strategize and play the game, including using your environment around you. This person, well, not this person, it's, the people who scripted up the trailer here, but obviously they picked up the rubber duck while they were looting. They held on to it. They get into an intense gunfight, and I guess they're on the losing side, and the way that they redeem themselves is chucking this rubber duck out there to make a little bit more noise, because obviously there's Arc robots everywhere lurking around, and that tiny bit of noise from the duck pinpointed the enemy's locations to the Arc robot, now forcing those enemies to hyper prioritize Arc over them, allowing them to have a couple of options. They can engage back, or they can get the heck out of there if they, don't think they can actually challenge the enemies. But as I stated, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I feel like Arc Raiders is going to thrive so heavily. The variety in how you can go about playing. There's so many ways to enjoy it. If you want to run and gun, you can run and gun. If you want to make buddies and, use voice chat and just chat it up and try to find people out there, you could do that. If you want to stay stealthy and not run into anything at all and just see if you can loot and leave, you could do that. If you want to try to team up and try to take down Arc robots and get, hired to your loot, you can do that. I mean, God, the options are endless. It's outstanding. And as I stated, I'm really excited to give it a go. I know I keep saying it, but man, I can't deny my feelings and emotions about this. And lastly, there are a few other, cool aspects of the trailer, but I just thought this looked absolutely absurd, guys. Our first look, we might have had another look at this, but I think it's, for a lot of people, their first look at the King Arc robot. This thing is freaking massive. In the previous playtest, people were only able to go ahead and get into combat with the Queen. The Queen was already big enough as, it was. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely blew my mind that the game was still running so nicely, with all the players trying to engage with the Queen, all the explosions going off from the Queen. As I stated, Embark are like wizards when it comes to optimization. But look at the size of that King. And guys, don't forget, this is not like the scenery, the backdrop of the game. No, that's in the map. So if you walk up to that, you will be able to engage with that king. I just want everybody to understand this because, this is not something you typically see in games nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. If you saw something like that, again, it's the backdrop. Somewhere way out beyond the player's grounds, and they can't go ahead and act. No. Not in Arc Raiders. That is real. That is something that you can engage with, or that's something that's going to absolutely demolish your whole raid. And just to go ahead and compare scale, you can actually see the players at the bottom left hand of the screen here of this image. Yeah, you could tell. The king is freaking ginormous. But ladies and gentlemen, this is just getting me really pumped because, again, for those who don't know, Arc Raiders was supposed to be specifically a PvE game with no PvP, so I don't even think it was supposed to be an extraction shooter. I'm assuming it was supposed to be something more on the lines of something like Helldivers, for example. So, again, the AI is good in this game, ladies and gentlemen. The AI is crazy. It's nothing to play around with. It's actually quite frightening, and you really have to pick your fights if you do want to go up against any of these, massive big boys. But, as I was saying, it makes me pumped because knowing that was supposed to be a PvE game, I'm assuming they have a lot more Arc robots in store for us to see, which means the variety is going to be absolutely absurd moving forward with the future of this overall game. I just can't wait to see what else is going to be, pushed up into this title because, man, oh man, what we already have is frightening and crazy enough. I can only imagine what else Embark has in store. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Of course, go down in the comment section and let me know what you guys think of this overall trailer and if you are still excited for Arc Raiders or if your hype has kind of died down. Personally, I think this trailer brought a lot of hype to the game. You could just tell by the pre-orders, and I think that once the open beta goes live, it's just going to be getting crazier and crazier from there. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and also a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. All different types of variety from first-person shooters, third-person shooters, pretty much anything that sparks my interest, I go ahead and discuss on this channel, so subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, go link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.